All right, so next up on the virtual farm tour is our pasture-raised meat chickens. So Josh, can you explain to us what kind of chickens that we raise here?
Yes, so we raise Cornish cross. These are basically a high output meat chicken, very similar to what you would receive in the grocery store, but raised 180 degrees differently than confinement.
Yeah, I see that they have plenty of room to roam around. Since we're in here, they're kind of crowded in the back, but normally they're spread amongst the entire coop here, and it looks like they're healthy. Their feathers are white. They're clean. They've got the grass here. Can you explain a little bit about how you raise these chickens?
Yes, so and that's a great question, great observations. These chickens, they are roughly about 5 weeks old, 4.5, 5 weeks old, so they don't have all their feathers yet, in case anyone's wondering why they have some skin showing still. Their feathers are growing in, and by the time they're at full age, they will be completely white, but we keep them in this coop 24/7 for predator protection. They get moved every single day, so this coop will actually be shifted tomorrow morning at about 7 a.m. That way, just to give them a complete fresh area of grass, so they'll get fresh bugs, grubs, seeds from the grass itself, and a fresh place to lay.
So they have a pretty natural diet. What else are they fed along with their natural diet of what's here in the pastures?
It is a non-GMO, soy and corn-free feed that consists primarily of wheat, barley, and peas, along with other nutrient balancers as well. But we try to keep all of the feed that we source for these guys local, and I guess with any operation here on the farm, local. So we source from local farmers, and it's ground and then provided to them free choice. We always make sure that we have plenty in front of them and that they don't have very far to go to get supplemental feed if they're not happy with everything that they're getting from Mother Nature.
So do they have to have a grain source?
Yes. So they are monogastric animals, so they have one stomach, and without a grain source, these birds would not thrive and finish because they were built for meat production.
So they need more calories than, let's say, a laying hen.
Correct. So they need more calories and energy in order to grow and put the meat on their bones that we provide everybody and that everybody loves.
So I know that conventional barns take about 5 weeks to raise a Cornish cross hen. That is from hatch date to processing. How long does it take us to raise pastured poultry here at Ayers Valley Farm?
So it takes us 9 weeks compared to your conventional farm barn of 5 to 6 weeks, like you mentioned, and that's because of a couple reasons. One is our feed source. So since we don't use corn and soy, the nutrients in this feed aren't quite as what I would call hot or readily available. So this does cause our chicken to grow slower. But what happens is you end up with a higher quality chicken, and it also tastes completely different.
Yeah, there's more nutrients in it because it takes longer, so they're exposed to more of the natural elements. They're taking a little bit longer to grow, so they have a longer period of time where they can actually get more nutrients, express themselves, have room to roam around. They
deposit all of that into the meat itself.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes. So when you move them every day, I see that there is a pretty thick layer of manure that's already started here. What happens with that?
So that is actually a great point. This is one of the centerpieces of the ecosystem of our farm, this pasture poultry. Excuse me. And the manure that they deposit. So what happens is when we pull up, all this manure will lay here on the ground, and as it rains and as your temperatures, your days cycle, it will be absorbed into the grasses below. And the soil microbes will then use that to fertilize the grass, digest it and fertilize the grass, which then our cows will come along and consume and thrive from as well. So this one operation here, chicken, supports the cattle and also the hogs at times as well.
So we don't have to use any synthetic fertilizer.
Correct. We do not have to use any synthetic fertilizers on any of our farms.
Okay, so last thing that I think we need to talk about is the humane handling of the birds. Tell us a little bit about how we transport these animals for processing. They're not going in at, hundreds of thousands of birds an hour in big confinement, operation to processing facility. How does that work with smaller batches of birds, where we're running less than 1,000 birds per batch?
Yep. So we use a small family-owned USDA certified processing facility where they actually sell meat out of. So they've got a storefront. It's not a big, close the door, you can't come in and see what we're doing type operation. It's an open door. You obviously you have to have permission to go out on the actual cutting floor, that kind of thing. But they're very open, very down to earth. They care about what they do. They're very humane when they're handling. And sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I know that when we go, they have a window where you can actually watch your birds being processed there.
That is correct. So that's kind of the end process. To get the birds to the processing facility, we will wait till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night when it's dark and the birds are relaxed and going to sleep. And we will very carefully place them into plastic crates where they have plenty of room still to move.
That are designed for chicken processing to keep them safe, right?
Correct. So it's designed to keep the birds safe during transport, keep them comfortable. We will then stack those on a trailer or in a pickup truck and take them to the processor, where we will then, of course, carefully unload at that point and enter the processing line with those birds.
And so we get that meat back from the USDA processor. How do we know that it's our meat?
So they track, when we drop the birds off, there's a tag that actually goes on, the breaking point where these birds start and the other birds stop. So they can identify our birds separately. And then on the label of the product, which is vacuum sealed and packaged by the processor, it actually has a tracking number. And then also our farm logo, but a tracking number that roots back or can be traced back to this batch of birds. So we can, if there's ever an issue, we can always trace everything back to this particular batch in this field and know everything about them.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's great is that using a USDA processor and doing small batches, we've never had an issue with any kind of recalls, any type of bacteria. The USDA inspectors are there during the time of processing, so everything is handled just top notch, top tier. Everything is great with them. So thanks for taking us on a tour of our pasture raised poultry. It looks like everybody's happy and healthy and thriving here. They're probably ready for you to get out of their coop.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. The other thing I want to add is these birds don't get any type of medication because of the way we manage them here. So there's no antibiotics, nothing fancy in this water. The feed is just as close to natural grain as you can get, other than the minerals that are supplemented. So this produces a very clean, very humane chicken that you can be proud to eat.
All right. Well, thanks, Josh.
Thank you. You all enjoy the video and continue on with our farm tour.